Okay, could you introduce yourself and how you've got involved in crypto and blockchain?
So my name is Matej, Michalko, and I'm founder and president of Decent, which is a blockchain content distribution network, and how I got involved in blockchain. So there was a long time ago, almost 7 years ago, I started to mine Bitcoin just by chance, because basically after the crisis with Greece, right, it was in 2010, I lost a lot of money on the fiat currency, and basically then I started to Google, about some alternative means of payment, right, and I found out about Bitcoin. And since that time, I became full-time in Bitcoin. So I founded the first Bitcoin marketing agency in the world. I was a Bitcoin miner. I had a few mining farms as well. I organized a couple of conferences. We actually met 3 years ago with Richard Stallman.
Right, in Austria.
In Austria, 3 years ago, Central European Bitcoin Expo. Richard Stallman, Vitalik Buterin. I also organized the first international Bitcoin conference in China, in Shanghai, Bitcoin Expo 2014. Not sure whether you were there, and a couple of other stuff. So I was involved also in legal stuff with Bitcoin in 2012, 2013. So I spent a couple of months in the Isle of Man trying to set up a regulation for cryptocurrencies and Bitcoin. Unfortunately, we did not manage to do that. But this is not a problem, because 3 years ago I founded Decent, which is the startup I'm in since then, full time.
Did everything go as you planned with launching your ICO?
Honestly, not really. We've been among the first ones.
What's wrong?
Well, I'm not saying wrong. It went probably even better as we expected, but it was not as planned at all. Because it's very hard to have a plan for an ICO even now, where the ecosystem is more mature. We have done the ICO in September 2016, and it took us 2 months to raise about 6,000 bitcoins, which was very, very good for the time, and this is as much as we needed. But it went so much better as we thought, at the very beginning. So we've got a strong support from the community in China at the time, and from the communities in Europe and the US. But I have to say that the situation with the ICO markets today changed a lot from the time that we were doing it more than 1 year ago.
So what difficulties did you face during the preparation process and the token sale?
Difficulties. Okay, there were a lot of difficulties. Basically, the preparation process was only about the difficulties, I have to say, and a lot of fun. Difficulties and a lot of fun. So we had to set up our system, right, for raising the coins, Bitcoins from people. We have done it not on Ethereum, because at that time Ethereum was not that mature as we thought it might be. So we have done it through a website, right? And we've been collecting Bitcoin addresses of people in a database. So we had a lot of issues, to set up this correctly. And even the demand was so high, at the very beginning, that our system crashed the very first day, and we had to postpone the ICO for 1 day. So we underestimated basically the demand for those tokens, for digital content tokens, for DCT. So I think this was the biggest difficulty that we faced. And probably the second one was to design the ICO process properly to satisfy both the backers and the other community. I mean the businesses that are now already using our system. So those are two things. Yeah, and maybe third thing is probably the communication across cultures, because we have an established team in China as well, and also in Europe, right? So it was kind of to keep and we are still facing this difficulty, right? To keep the communication between the different time zones and different cultures, because people work very differently in Europe and very differently in China.
Was your marketing and PR campaign successful?
Yeah, definitely yes. Definitely very successful, and we've got strong support from Cointelegraph as well, which we can thank you. We've been in touch with Cointelegraph since a couple of years. So basically since the start of Cointelegraph in 2013, right? So I have to say it was very, very, very successful from the point of even if you look at the number of participants during the first day of our ICO, it was much higher than even our technicians, even our technical staff expected. So from this point of view, it was really successful to get people, yes, interested. There is a huge, thank you. There is a huge demand still for those tokens.
And how's your product doing by now?
We launched blockchain product the 30th of June 2017. So it took us about 7 months after the ICO to launch the actual product. We did not release any tokens before launching the actual product, right? This was our philosophy, this was our strategy. Do not let people just to speculate, deliver a real product after launch tokens. This is what we communicate to the community and was very appreciated from all the people in our community. So we launched our product on 30th of June, so it's something like half a year ago, and we managed to stir a massive interest from both the Eastern markets and the Western markets. So my colleague, another founder of this, and Matej, is now in New York attending meetings with IFP, which is very interested in using our solution for movie distribution, event tickets, and so on. So IFP, we are talking about Hollywood, about the US, about the big names, and at the same time on my side, I managed to secure a partnership with a game distributor in emerging markets. So we are talking about Indonesia, India, Thailand, what else is there? Philippines, Vietnam, Africa, and South America, with 100 million MAU, 100 million monthly active users. Just for your reference, Facebook had 2 billion MAU in July. So we have a partnership with them. They distribute games on kind of the cheap OEM Android phones across the emerging markets, and they are going to put their content on our platform in Q1 next year. So there is a lot of exciting. Those are the two biggest projects that we currently have. The interest in our technology is huge.
Congratulations. If you have any advice for people who are looking to start their own ICO?
Sure, advice. So I've done an ICO last year, so I'm probably not the best one to advise because the situation changed a lot since that time. But what I want to say is that have a real product and the product market fit, right? Think about the product market fit. It's, a lot of people think that ICO is just, okay, I do white paper and people send me some tokens. It doesn't work like this, Think about the business model, right? How would this work, to be sustainable over time, right? How would this work? The business model is very important to have this figured out, and also do it legally, properly, right? There are a lot of countries that offer, some sandbox for ICOs. We can mention, Singapore, Switzerland. There is Gibraltar on the way. Taiwan is doing something. So there are a lot of places. Do it properly from the legal point of view. It's very important to have this properly because in some countries the laws can be retroactive, right? And it cannot be good for the future of the project, right? No one wants his or her project to get close. So the legal due care and due diligence is very important. And probably I would mention we had one ICO project. We are not directly involved, but they are basically using just our technology, and they do it in Switzerland. So it's called Sophia TX. They are the world's first open source blockchain platform for SAP. So it's a platform that has 5 million active developers all over the world, and they are doing the world's first open source blockchain for them, and they are starting next week. So this is just one of the examples of how can one do it properly. But again, I'm not directly involved. Thank you.
Thank you.